Sometimes someone will ask me if I ever want to play any other instruments besides the piano, and I always respond, well, I'm still trying to figure out how to play this one. After 40 years of piano playing, I'm still figuring things out that reinforce how to be a better pianist, a stronger artist, and do anything I want at any time at the keyboard. Today, we're going to talk about something that recently came more to my attention, and that is the neuroscience of jumps in parallel motion. Now, that's a pretty obscure topic, but I want you to watch the motion I'm going to make in my hands, the difference between my right and my left hand, and then we're going to talk about what I do. Let me do that again. Now, you'll notice that my right hand made quite a big gesture, and my left hand made a smaller gesture. Now, I've been making a series of videos on jumps and leaps at the keyboard and how to be successful, and someone had pointed out an interesting article on neuroscience to me, another pianist, which when I read I thought, my goodness, I've been doing this for decades, but I never was really understood why, but now it makes a little bit more sense. So let me explain. So when I made that jump down to the bass, both my hands were making a parallel motion. So they were coming from here to here, both making a pretty substantial leap with a fair amount of time in between. But why did my right hand move much more than my left hand, and why does that feel so comfortable? It turns out that because our hands, as you know, are inverted and not kind of parallel like this, they're very well designed to work in contrary motion. Our brain is somewhat hardwired for this, but when our hands have to make parallel motions at the same time, it somehow slows down the processes of the brain, a little bit like probably downloading a movie and trying to watch YouTube and downloading iTunes or something, where you've got kind of an overflow of information coming at the same time. And what I did in my hand motion was I staggered the motion. So one hand got there slightly ahead of the other hand, which actually enables, because of the staggering of motion, enables me to process those events in the neuroscience of my brain much easier. You might see if try this yourself and try it where you make exact arrival at the same time, or do the opposite, and that is make a big motion for both hands. And you'll find that when one hand is a little bit more grounded than the other, closer than and if I reversed it and I did the left hand, it feels so equally as comfortable to me, but when I make them in the same time, it feels very locked. Now, there's other aspects here in that I'm blocking my momentum, but let's look at one other example with this. This is the terrifying about measure 9 in the Liszt Sonata. Really awkward octave leap that every pianist should work on, whether they play this piece or not. You don't have to be even more than an intermediate pianist just to play this, practice this scary leap. And it goes from G to G. Now you'll notice if I do it in slow motion that my right hand is getting there slightly after my left hand, even though I'm striking them at the same time. My right hand's lifting slightly more than the left. So practice this, and I'm going to put a link to this article. It's a little bit weighty in terms of what's happening in terms of the mechanics of your brain, but I think you'll enjoy it, and it will give you some ideas of how to make parallel leaps at the keyboard.